to Let's Talk About Sleep. Here's the book. You know it. Let's Talk About Sleep. You can get this on Amazon. The new book, The Story of Sleep from A to ZZZ, is also on Amazon. Okay, when we get to 2,000 subscribers, one viewer at random will get a signed copy of this, but you got to be in it to win it. Still waiting for the person to reach out to me for this one. So, reach out. As I always say, these videos are for educational purposes only. And that being said, let's get into today's topic, which is how much sleep do you actually need? A few years ago, the National Sleep Foundation put forth a recommended guidelines for amount of sleep based on the age of the person, going from newborn all the way up to old age. And it's instructive. We're going to go over this now. You can find this online very easily. It kind of gives us a guideline, and there's some things in there that I want to talk about. Now, this channel is for adults only, although sometimes I do talk about children's sleep, and maybe somewhere down the road I'll make a channel for children's sleep. But for now, this is mostly adults. However, I do want to kind of talk about the National Sleep Foundation's guidelines when all ages. Okay, so I'm going to be kind of consulting my little chart here as we go forward. So for a newborn, okay, we're talking 0 to 3 months, the recommended is between 14 to 17 hours per day, okay, but anywhere from 11 to 19 may be appropriate, okay. So of course newborns need more sleep as the brain is developing, no surprise there. An infant, 4 to 11 months, 12 to 15 hours is recommended, but 10 to 18 may be appropriate, okay. I'm going to skip that. When we get to school age, between 6 to 13 years, 9 to 11 hours may be appropriate, which is becoming a problem in this country given what we call the social jet lag. All of our exposure to TV and computers and video games kind of makes us go to sleep later, makes them go to sleep later, and we have to wake up early for school. We'll see what happens when the time change situation, if that comes to pass, having a later start time. In addition to that, having a later start time would be useful. And there's a big push in the sleep community to have kids have a later start time, okay, because they naturally do have this delay. You add into it electronic devices, it makes it even worse, okay. So 9 to 11 hours is recommended. 7 to 12, though, it can be appropriate. Teenagers, I would say, is even a bigger issue, okay. So 8 to 10 hours is what's required or what's recommended. 7 to 11 may be appropriate. So again, even more so than school-age kids, teenagers are much more prone to going to bed later and having to wake up for school, or early time. So that's a big problem, and hopefully with delayed start times that should help mitigate it. But on top of that, though, as a teenager, knowing that you have to shut off the devices, shut off the computer, shut off the TV, that's important, because as we get into adulthood, okay, young adulthood, 7 to 9 hours, as I always say, that's what's recommended. 6 to 11 may be appropriate, but those behaviors from teenage years carry over. Okay, so if you're going to bed very late, you go into the workforce, you go into college, the workforce, and those habits remain where you go to bed late, you wake up for the job, it may be problematic. Again, this is not on one night, this is long term we care about. Then adult years, again, same thing, 7 to 9 hours, 6 to 10 hours may be appropriate. And then we get to old age, there's a myth that we need less sleep. That's actually not true. The recommended for older adult is 7 to 8 hours. It's a little bit less than the young adult. And the reason for that is because our ability to stay asleep does go down. Okay, so there may be a kind of evolutionary component to that, or our body's ability to stay asleep goes down as we need to urinate or have other problems. So 7 to 8 hours is recommended. But 5 to 9 may be appropriate, okay, depending on the person. Now, this is just duration, okay? I always talk about on this channel, it's not just quantity, it's also quality, right? So as we get older, the likelihood of things like sleep apnea or other conditions like insomnia can occur. So it's not just getting 9 hours, or 7 to 9 hours rather, but what if it's very disrupted, or what if it's chopped up, or what if it's 3 hours here, 4 hours there, and 2 hours later? It's not just the quality, not just the quantity, it's also the quality. So if you're not getting this amount of sleep, you need to try to focus on that. But even if you are getting this amount of sleep and you're still tired, or your sleep is disrupted, or there's other problems that may be going on, you definitely want to see somebody. Okay? So quality, quantity, but also timing. Okay? So what can happen is when people work overnight shifts, okay, like my lovely girlfriend, she works rotating shifts as a PA, and what can happen is when she does work those night shifts, when she's coming home to sleep in the morning, the quality of the sleep is just not going to be as good because your brain is not wired to be sleeping at that time. Now, I've talked about that on my channel as well, as far as what to do if you work overnight shifts. Maybe I'll make another video of that down the road. But the point is, you look at this, it's not to be looked at as in a vacuum, okay, the amount of sleep that you're getting, okay? You want to have quality, quantity, and you want to try to make sure the timing is as good as you can make it, okay? That it's within that window of time that your body is tending to be to sleep, usually around 11 p.m. or so, waking up around 7 for the average person, okay? Now, to that, one last comment I'll make is, this is for the average person. There are people who need less. There are people who need more. It's a bell curve. Okay, so, there are patients of mine who come to me and say, look, I feel great in the daytime. I have no problems. I have no medical issues. I have no psychiatric thing. I am doing fine at work, but my family is worried because I only get 5 hours a night. I feel fine. My sleep is good. I have no trouble with driving. That person may truly need 5 hours of sleep. Okay? So just take that also into consideration. All right? So if there's any questions on this or anything sleep related, leave them in the comment section down below. Once a month, I will answer any and all questions in a video. For now, I'm doing 1 video a week, but I'll probably get back to 2 relatively soon. It's just things are going crazy. Clinical work and research work and whatnot. All good things, but a lot going on. So that's the story. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And please like this channel and pass it on to your friends and family. Until next time, sleep well.